Hello everyone, welcome back to another Unreal Engine video, and in today's video we're going to be exploring the world of Foliage. Now, the main thing about Foliage is that, of course, you can get it from Quixel but you can also get it from the Epic Games Launcher. So if you don't know, the Epic Games Launcher is where Unreal Engine was released. So there's a marketplace. So if you click on marketplace here, you can buy different packs of sort of assets, mega scans, courses. So I am using the free mega scans, and I got some trees and some grass, some flowers. So you can click onto it and buy it and then add it to a project. I already have everything in my project, so I chose the meadow pack and our common hazel. So that's what we're going to use for this video. So now I'm just going to go in to our project here. So we're in our project, and if we click on selection mode and change it to foliage, you can see that we have an empty section for foliage. Now, one thing I still haven't tried is if I type in meadow. Can I add this here? I cannot. Alright, so for now, I don't fully know. Never mind. Okay, so here's our meadows pack. So what is this? This is grass. Okay, so what we're going to do is, I'm going to undo that. And I have my grass here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the density of my brush so there's more grass that comes out every time I paint it. So as you can see, there's more and more grass on this side. So if I press Alt P, you can see that there is a lot of grass. But what I don't like is that it goes into the river. Now, one thing I did forget to do, let me undo that. I was just testing out and I forgot to change the collision back to its original pawn to overlap. So now you can see that I have grass, and that is ideally how foliage works. You have a plant type thing and you just paint it around your scene. But there are a lot of ways to randomize what you make. So that's what I'm going to be showing you today. So first of all, I want to make a lot more grass. So I'm going to change the paint density to 1 and just sort of paint over everything but the river. So I don't want to go onto the river. I just want to be sort of on the ground. So if you zoom in, you can see what it looks like. Now let me change the brush size. So now we can sort of just do it at the edges. And so I just sort of paint it around. I'm going to paint it on the ground here. So now if I press Alt P, I spawn into a small grassy area with sort of grass coming onto the mountains, and there's just grass everywhere. Now, as you can see, the grass is very detailed, and you can see that I can walk on the grass. Now, let's say you want to sort of not walk on the grass, so you want the grass to hit you. That is something called collision, that is what happened to the river. And I'm actually going to show you that with the trees. So for now, I'm going to get out of editing or gameplay, and I'm just going to add more grass in certain places. Sort of have a little going up to the hill, but not too much. Have a little, again, going up towards the hill. And obviously, you can't go too much up the hill. And Unreal Engine doesn't let you because it's not a flat surface. So parts of it doesn't exactly work. But for now, we're just going to paint over a sort of ground. Now we can paint here. And as you can see, I want the grass to I want there to be less grass by the time we get to the lake over here. Or what I can do as well is just have grass closer to the lake, because as you remember, there is a small cutoff here. Just end it there. That works too. Now I don't want to really put it around since it's only on this side. And because we're only really testing this right now, I'm just going to add a little to the riverside. Now here is kind of the weird part to cut off. I need to find a good way to cut off here. So I'm just going to go around the mountain a little. And as we're going in, I want to lower the paint density so there's less and less grass coming out. Lower it more. And let me press Alt P so we can try playing this. Now I know it doesn't look that great, but for now I think it'll work as sort of like an example, a test. But as you can see, we're just going to run around a little more, explore some parts. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to increase the brush size and put the paint density back to 1 and sort of actually paint over it more. So I think I'm okay for now if we have a little grass over here on the sides. So now I'm just going to keep painting over with some grass here. And in my opinion, I really like this feature because you just get to paint it all on. So you can change the density of how much you want. You can change the size, the location. You can have a scale factor. So if you want it between a specific scale. So let me actually show you that. If you go down, we have scale X. So if I change the max to 2 and I start painting, pretty much what scale X does is in some places it will give off a tall grass, in some places it will give off a small grass, and it all depends on the min and max you give it. So if you check here, some of them are actually taller than the other ones, and that is what scale does. Now notice that some of it does go into the water, and I'm okay with that. I'm not going to make a huge deal out of it going into the water. I'm just going to try my best to not have it go into the water, just sort of have it at the edge. Now as you can see, there's a lot, and I mean a lot of grass. There's 4.41k grass right now. So after I learn a little more, I will show you how to sort of make it less laggy after having that much objects. So now the next thing I'm going to do is put it on everywhere else. Well, you can see that makes 30k, and I do not want that much. So we're going to stick with the original plan, and we're just going to have it at these sides. So now, maybe just paint a little here on the edge of the river on the other side. So just paint over here. And also do know that you could, let's see, where is it? You can remove, or erase is actually a better tool. So you can erase some of the grass you put down or whatever foliage you do. You can always erase it and add it again. So remember that. Now we're just going to have a little more. And let me go to erase, and I'm just going to sort of erase it away from here. Just have less here. In general, I don't really want it going this way, so let's just erase all that. And I'm going to go back to paint, so just paint it over here specifically. And then, like I did last time, I'm just going to slowly decrease the paint density and sort of have it fade out a little more. So now if we go to the other side, you can see it's also grassy here. Now, again, like I said, it's not perfect, but definitely for now, I think I really like this. And we're going to go with this. Now, next is what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding some trees. Now, what I like about Unreal Engine is that you can make the trees really realistic, and most of the trees that you have in Unreal Engine, so I'm going to just get this, I'm going to deselect that, and as you can see, so here's one of the trees. I'm just going to place it, and let me run towards it. You can see that just from here a little, you can see that the leaves are like moving, and that's what I really like about Unreal Engine. So as you can see, I will actually delete that later. So as you can see, the water is moving, and with that, the trees are also moving. So if we get a little closer, you can see that the tree here is moving. And I really like that. Now, one thing I did do while testing is add collision, and I will show you how to do that in a minute. But for now, let me just erase these trees. And I'm going to go up to the lake, just erase a little here. Oh yes, it should be. So if you are erasing or adding something, don't forget that you need the object selected in your foliage mode to actually erase it. Now I'm going to go to paint mode and I'm just going to apply some grass here, the sides of the mountain, because I think it would be nice if we just had a little at the top of these parts of the mountain, because it makes it look a little more nice in general, and I like it. So just adding a lot more grass here, and then sort of add a little less there, and then alright, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to add some trees, like I said. So I have this, but what I want to do is I want my minimum to be 0.5 and I want my max to be 0.8. So let's see how those trees will look. So in my opinion, those trees, those look pretty good. But again, let me just check while playing the game. So we're just gonna walk towards the trees. I think the grass looks okay. We could definitely make it a little better, but for now, I think it's okay. I think one thing I might just do is remove it from the sides of the mountain. Okay, so let's look at the scale. I think the scale of these trees are pretty nice. So what we can do is have the max at 1. So now if we place it, you can see that there's more of a taller tree. You can see that some are taller, some are shorter, but that is the main idea of what I'm going for. Now let me just quickly, in foliage mode, instead of the trees, I'm going to erase the grass on top of some of the mountains. I don't really like it when it's on the side of the mountain. It looks a little weird. So I'm just going to sort of erase that. I'll keep this one. This one's okay. But I'll erase the grass from parts of the mountain here. Actually, keep that. That looks okay. Here is where I don't really want it. Okay, so that, I think that looks pretty nice. Just let me paint a little more here. But I think that looks nice. So now, again, I'm going to go back to my trees now. And I'm going to click on foliage. We're going to add a few different types of trees now. So we have our hazel field here. Now one thing I still haven't tested is if we can change the color of these trees. And I think it would be really cool if we could. So that's what we're going to look at now. So let's look at this. It makes the trees look a little weird. If we just... This makes the trees look a little sort of different. And I like that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to keep that. We're going to go back to, no, that's the color I want. We're going to go back to video 1. So I have that saved. So now, if we import this, okay, wait, it is not different. Oh, it's because it wasn't selected. So now, as you can see, I have 2 different versions of the trees. And I think I really like that. Now, as you can see, it's getting more laggy, but we can fix that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one more type of foliage, and hopefully my Unreal Engine can keep up. If it cannot, then we're going to have to do something else. But for now, We're gonna open this here. So we're gonna wait for it to open because it looks like it's gonna take a long time. Alright, so now we have our plant here, and I'm just gonna go into this, and we're gonna do the same thing, but sort of change the colors. So maybe let's just change the actual color to maybe like a bluish. I want to see if this can work, and we'll see what it does. Okay, so now what we're going to do is just sort of play with the colors, see what looks nice. And if I can, make a brownish color. Okay, so I think that looks pretty nice. So we're going to use this. And now if we select this, we have 3 different trees. Now, one thing I still haven't done yet with these trees is change the min to 0.5 and keep the max at 1. This one, maybe let's do it differently and put this at 1.5. So now the trees differentiate. So it's time to paint, and what I'm going to do is, first off, I'm going to change the brush size, make it bigger, and change the paint density to 28. So now we're going to add a forest of trees. Wait, huh? How did I lose the second version of the tree? Wait, what? Okay, well, I don't know how, but I lost the other 2 versions of the tree. Now I have all 3 parts selected. Let's just do that again. I'm going to change the paint density up and change the brush size. But that is way too much. So we're going to change it down to 0.14. But even that's a lot. So we might as well just make it 0.02. So now we're just going to sort of like place the trees everywhere. I'm going to erase this one tree. And then paint. We're just going to paint, like I said, a sort of really big forest around. So what I'm planning to do is, with these trees, we can sort of have the player blocked from going past this border here. And for that, we also do need collision. So that is the next thing I'm going to show you in a minute. So now, as you can see, we have a bunch of trees. So let's go from here. We're going to walk up. And as you can see, we have our trees. Now, these trees, as you can see, I can walk through them, and that is, I do not want to do that. This tree though, however, since I have collision on it already, I do not walk through it. And obviously for everything else I do, because I have not set up collision on any of these. But also, the main focus here is that I have sort of like a small forest vibe, and I think there can definitely be a lot more trees here. So let me just change the brush size and keep like adding more trees. So yeah, all we are going to do here is just add more trees in spots that don't have them. Some parts you can keep open because of course it's a forest and you need to have some open spots. And you might be saying the trees are overlapping. To fix that, all you need to do is select a specific type of tree and then remove it from wherever it's overlapping. So this tree, I'm going to remove it from there, from here, because as they're overlapping too much. These ones are okay. So just going through. There are a few that might be overlapping too much, like this one. Or actually, maybe just the middle one. Okay, so pretty much now what I can do is sort of just have one type of tree, and now I'm going to paint that. So here I'm going to add one here. I'm going to add a few. So just sort of fill up the spots that are blank. Okay, now here is another tree that I do want to erase right here. That one I'll keep since it's towering over the other ones. Now let's add some more green trees because those are the main type of tree. So having more of those will be pretty nice. Let me go up. Let me change my paint density since I'm actually painting only one type of tree. I can have more paint density, so it actually paints the tree. So just apply it to random spots that aren't filled yet. So just gonna add more trees in random spots. And at the end, this is just going to block the player from moving forward into the world. Just have some random trees here. Now I'm going to change the tree type and have some of those trees here. Okay, let's use the green trees now. And like I said, just bring the paint density up a little more so you can actually paint the trees where you want them. Okay, I'll fix that in a minute. But I'm just trying to have a lot of more green trees. So let's just delete a few here. And now we can use the other trees. I'm just gonna add some trees here as like a sort of blockade. I think this looks nice. Just add a few more trees in some places. Now the paint density is definitely too much right now. I can lower it and add a few more trees. But in general, I think this forest is turning out pretty well. Now anyone looking at it from above will definitely not realize how detailed it is. So we're gonna go into the forest. Now, like I said, the next thing we're going to do is look at the collision. But for now, it is really slow. And like I said, we also have to fix that. But as you can see, there's some pretty nice forest vibes everywhere, really. Even on this small hill, we can walk through trees. And at one point, definitely going to block us from going up there. Some places don't, but for now, I think it's okay. And now it's time to show you how to set up your collision. Now here what you're going to do is click on collision and add capsule simplified collision. Now this will give you a orb. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale this to just match the size of the trunk. So let me... Now what I want to do is rotate it 90 degrees. And just scale it back in. So now I'm just going to move this a little. Okay, yeah, so that looks good. And I'm going to go here and I'm going to find collision presets and I'm going to set collision presets to block all. And now let me just do this with everything else. Let me actually start with this green one since I already have collision on it. But it seems I might need to add a new one. So I'm going to rotate it 90 and let me just scale it. So now just stretch it out a little, about that much, and then move it back, move it down, move it back more, and then we're just going to scale it once more to that. And I think this looks nice. So we're just going to move it down and we're left with this. And now we're just going to do it for our final. So collision, add capsule simplified collision. And rotate it 90 degrees. scale it. What I like about Unreal Engine is how detailed you could make something. So this collision is like really nice. I really love this process. It's really, in my opinion, it's fun to do. Might not be fun for everyone, but I like doing it. And it's definitely something that's really nice and realistic about Unreal Engine. So now, we're going to do the same thing here. Go into Collision, Presets, and set it to Block All. Now let me check this. Collision, Presets, Block All. So now, if we press Alt-P, and don't forget to save all. Okay, there. So now we're just going to run, and we're going to walk into a tree. And you can see, I don't go through the tree. Now, it's not perfect, but for now, it'll do. So let's go take a walk through our little forest, and you'll see how it looks. So just gonna walk through here. Now we just run down, and as you can see, we jump through the leaves because I didn't add collision to the leaves. But the trunks and the stems, those all have collision because of the collision box or capsule I added. And in general, I think Foliage is really fun, and it's really detailed. I love using it, and definitely it's one of my favorite things about Unreal Engine so far. I really liked it, and definitely it's something to keep working with. Now, one thing I do like about some places is if you add the grass throughout the forest. So I'm just going to quickly see if I can do that. So I'm just going to remove all of that. Paint, and let me increase the paint density. I'm just going to paint into the forest. Sort of have a little grass. Now, one thing you could do is you could add, if you want, you can add a little light. You could add some light into your forest, but I want it to be a little more realistic, so I'm not adding light. So I'm just adding a little more grass throughout my trees. Sort of make it a grasslandy thing. And now just throw it all around here. Hopefully none of, okay, there's a little bit that went into the river, so we gotta fix that. And then we can go back to adding more into the trees. So just move it. Gonna keep painting everywhere throughout the trees. So far, this looks pretty nice. I liked it. Alright, so let's Alt-P. We're gonna go here. Gonna walk. And you can see there's a lot of grass everywhere. There are trees, the shadows. Everything looks really nice. We just add a little bit of grass over here. But in general, I think this was really nice. We just get a better view here. We go into selection, Alt-P. You can see there's no grass going down, but once you do go down, there's a grass-filled forest. So I think Foliage is useful in making a scene or game. It's really nice, and it's a good way to make things like forests and grasslands. I really enjoyed using Foliage, and it's definitely one of my favorite tools in Unreal Engine. It's because it makes an environment so realistic, and it's really fun to use. So I hope you liked that video. and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!